Hi, Rainy here from Tennis 7's, and welcome to our very first podcast. I'll be your host for this Tennis 7's podcast, and we want to welcome our first guest, Danielle.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for
Well,
having me today.
welcome here, Danielle. We're glad to have you here. Danielle, tell us a bit more about yourself.
So I'm a biokineticist. I started off in obviously school, and when I matriculated from Ridge High School, I went ahead to study personal training at ETA College. After that, I then went to Tux and did my undergrad in sports science, and after that, eventually did my honors in BSc biokinetics. And then did my internship at SEMLI, which is at the HBC at Alcid Villiers, which was really a great experience for me. And then I also started my own company this year in May 2021, and that's called Bodyssey. So just to tell you a little bit about Bodyssey and how I came up with the name, Odyssey, which is how I formed the Bodyssey part of things. Odyssey means like a adventure or journey that you're going through. So for me, that kind of explains my journey through life. So how I got to studying biokinetics, how I became a biokineticist, and then obviously the ring of Bodyssey just sounds pretty cool. And for my patients as well, their journey that they'll go through throughout their rehabilitation process.
So, the main reason for starting Bodyssey, like you said, your adventure through life, and that actually relates to your journey, your patient's journey. So, the meaning behind Bodyssey, as I understand, it's like I said, the journey
Yes.
through life. When did you think the first time? When did you want to start a company? Were you still young when you wanted to start your own company? Did it just came along the way whilst you were studying?
Yeah.
How did it happen?
So it's kind of always been a dream of mine. I've always thought of doing it myself, but I never knew, am I capable of doing something like this? So actually, after my internship, I worked for another company, and in my head, I thought I would be working for, about 5 years for somebody, learning the biokinetic world and all of those things. And when I was at this company, I then saw, I actually have my own special interests, things that I'd like to pursue in biokinetics. And then I decided, and I actually got an opportunity to start my own company. And I decided, well, why not? I'm 25 years old. I have a great support system from family and friends. And I thought, let's do it. Let me put my heart and soul into this thing. And I haven't looked back since. So I absolutely love it.
That's great to hear.
Okay.
Did you face any challenges while starting the company? What were the challenges you faced along the way?
So there are a few challenges that I can think of. If I think of the challenges now, I do want to say that I do appreciate all of these challenges. So I've learned a lot from it. My company has grown from it. I've become stronger from it as well. And I think sometimes people need to realize that these hardships that you go through are important in life. That's where you learn most of your life lessons. But to think of the challenges themselves. So I think firstly, starting a business is not easy. I think you guys know that as well. But anybody that says it is easy, it's definitely not. There's always something in the road, some barrier that you need to get over. And if something comes up, you need to see this thing and you need to respond to it. You need to be adaptable. And even if it's something small, like an IT issue, which is definitely not small for me, I'm not an IT person, or getting COVID, it's just something that you need to face and that you need to walk through. And then, speaking about COVID, I think that's been a problem for all businesses in South Africa, not only mine. My patients were a little bit nervous to come and see me during the COVID times. But after, reassuring them and telling and showing them that I am COVID compliant, they were then fine with that. But also, I think everybody was experiencing the psychological stress as well, which I don't think people realize. From kids to adults to the elderly, everybody has experienced this psychological toll on them. And I think it's important for us to speak about it and, share our feelings and how we feel about COVID. If there is something bothering you, speak to somebody about it. And then other than that, I think, just getting your name out there. For me, getting my name out there, showing people that they can trust me. Sometimes putting your heart and soul and passion into what you do and into your marketing. It is quite draining if you don't get the response that you want immediately. So that I've learned a lot from, and trying to realize in myself that you don't always get everything you want at first, and sometimes it does take a little bit of time, but there will be somebody that will say, you know what, I believe in you, and that's when your personalities just match. Other than that, I think to manage these challenges or to face these challenges is to firstly be adaptable, as I said before. And secondly, to have a good support system. If something's bothering you in the day, or if something happened at work, to be able to go home and say to someone, you know what, today was a terrible day. This is what I went through. Can you give me any advice? And for that person to say, to give you honest and true advice on how you should respond to that problem.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Tell me, when you started the company, how many research did you need to do, market research and so forth, to know you're at the right place? Was location ever a problem? Do clients come to your house? What did you need to do just to start the business?
Yeah, so I think, that's always a very difficult part of starting a business, is the marketing point of things. Yes, location is very important. At the moment, I'm actually practicing in an estate. So a lot of my patients are from the Wilds estate and the surrounding hospitals. So I have a lot of patients coming from Pretoria East Hospital, from Wilkers Hospital. I'm actually working with doctors in Wilkers Hospital. So I would say location is definitely important. In terms of marketing, I guess I'm not the most creative person, but I've learned a few skills from that. Marketing has been difficult, but at the same time, I've learned so much. Even for me, my confidence has improved. Being able to speak to people, being able to make adverts and things like that. It's really a skill that you need to learn and that somebody should have.
You also have to put a lot of time into marketing to get your name out there.
Yes.
You can't just make one post on Facebook and everybody knows your name. You actually have to we see it ourselves as well. You really have to market your brand.
Yes.
You have to make people believe that your brand works and is something they would need in life. How adaptable do you need to be in the circumstances? You said COVID was a huge problem. Obviously, we know that. And how adaptable do you need to be to accommodate clients? Do you go and see them? Do they only come to you?
So with COVID now, I think the whole world is doing this, and online sessions are a big thing. For us, having that aspect of doing like a Zoom session is a great thing to have. It is a little bit difficult because our job is quite hands-on, fixing postures, fixing the correct movement, actually showing them the movement over Zoom and trying to explain is quite hard, but it is something that we have, and it's something that we need to be grateful for. In terms of, I can go to people's house. I do have a patient that I go to his house. There is a little bit of admin behind it, consent forms and all of those things. But otherwise, everybody is happy to come to my practice. I think my practice is quite a comfortable space to be in. I play some music and I try and just be, fun and natural. And I think it's just a very comfortable space to be in.
To create an atmosphere of someone just to
be
comfortable and actually forget their pains and everything.
Exactly, just to create a space of, to allow them to be safe, to allow them to trust me and be comfortable in the space that they're in.
Okay. And tell me, do you have any employees? Do you do it on your own now? Is there any plans to maybe get employees later on?
Yeah, so I don't have any employees at the moment. It's just me. But there is definitely a long-term plan to get people, under Bodyssey. So again, thinking about Bodyssey, the reason I came up with the name itself and the company is because I want to have other practitioners underneath my name. So not only biokineticists, thinking about physiotherapists, doctors, things like that, in order to create a multidisciplinary team. Which is my vision for the future.
Okay, so you talked about your vision now. What would you say is your 5 to 10 years goal for Bodyssey? Where do you see yourself then? Do you see yourself branching out? Only staying in Pretoria? Is there plan to go national?
So it's exactly that. As I said before, the multidisciplinary team is my vision. I want to have a team together to give the patients their best form of treatment. So if they come forward with an injury or condition, to allow them to be able to get each and everybody's opinion on this condition and the different treatments from the different practitioners. I think that will help them, and it will be great for us, to form a team. It's always good to have a good team put together. And I would say that is my 5 to 10 year plan. So I can't say whether it's going to happen in 5 or 10 years, hopefully between the two.
But you can always work to it and just stay positive that it will happen.
Yes, and exactly that. And hopefully then franchising the business eventually, that would be great.
Cool. Tell me, What is your target market for Bodyssey? Do you focus more on children or adults or both?
So the target market at the moment is quite broad, and it's going to get bigger as my business grows. But if I had to think of myself at the moment, and relevant to this interview, I mean, I love tennis, as I've said, or I haven't told you guys yet, but I've been playing tennis all my life, and then sustained an injury in matric. So that's actually partly why I went to study biokinetics. You know, when you get injured, you think to yourself, yes, but why did this happen? How did this happen? What do I do now? And where do I go? Who do I see? What practitioner? So I want to be there for those athletes. I want them to be able to, you know, feel comfortable to come to me and say to me, you know, they injured themselves, and I'll then treat them for that injury. But also education. I think education is so important. Educate them on how it happened, what caused the injury, how to manage the injury, and how to also prevent the injury in the future, that they can also then share with their players. Other than that, with the tennis and the racket sports, I have a special interest in neurological conditions. So neurological injuries, things like spinal cord injuries, herniated discs, then neurological conditions, for example, multiple sclerosis, cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, stroke patients. I mean, there are so many things that I can list. But just to think of things on the spot now, I would say that's kind of those are my special interests. But from children to the elderly, I mean, yeah, any ages really.
I think because you had experience in tennis as well, because you said now you were a tennis player and you got injured.
Yes.
I think that's also maybe a part of why you started Bodyssey.
Exactly.
Not just to help yourself, but yeah, like you said, to help other people with the same injuries. Because I think when you get an injury, you think, well, this is the end. I'll never do a sport again or whatever. But if you know there's someone that can really help you, that understands what you're going through, that probably motivates people as well then.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can tell them about your experiences, I don't know, do you ever tell people about previous experiences just to make them feel more comfortable?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think people are sometimes embarrassed, you know, I've shoulder pain now. I'll get over it. I just worked a little bit hard today. I think it's important to speak about it. And yes, I do share my experiences with them as well. But also just thinking about their injuries, you know, when you play and you think, oh, my knees are a little bit sore today, my shoulders are a little bit sore today, and you think, oh, well, I overworked. I mean, it's nothing. Carry on playing, push it and push it and push it until something happens and until you tear something. And that's why it's important not to ignore your pain, to go and see somebody about it, come and speak to me about it, ask me what, you know, tell me your symptoms and things, and then we can do an assessment and see where it goes from there. If you have injured something, or if you just need a little bit of guidance on your grip strength, your correct grip, the correct movements, correct shoes. I mean, everything makes a difference, from not tying your shoelaces to having the incorrect racket. So yeah, it's very important.
I think people are not really educated about having like you said, the right grip, the right shoes, the right equipment. So people just go on courts, injure themselves, and actually forget about it.
Yes.
Especially kids. I don't think when a kid gets injured, they don't really tell anybody, or maybe they cry a bit or whatever. But I think as you get older, you need to start looking at your injuries and then going to someone to help you. I think that is that important.
I think sometimes people neglect the kids' injuries. You know, they think, oh, it's just a phase, you know. And then when they get older, and even us now, I mean, if we feel a little bit of pain and we wait and we wait and we wait, eventually when you are, you know, an older person, you're going to think to yourself, but yes, why didn't I do something about it earlier? And that's the same with the kids. I mean, if they are complaining about something needs to be done about it. And you can't just leave it. And you need to look out for those kids, because they're going to grow up to be the professionals one day. So yeah, definitely look out for that.
Okay. You said previously the whole COVID thing, sorry, going back to that now. Yeah. You started doing online sessions as well. What do you prefer? Do you prefer to do online sessions or face-to-face? What is the best thing to do?
I think definitely face-to-face. It makes the patient feel more comfortable. I feel more comfortable. Again, we are very hands-on occupation. I want to be able to physically show them, do this, you know, do that, move your leg like that, move your leg like this. So I prefer an in-person consultation. If somebody doesn't feel comfortable with the in-person consultation, 100% let's do the online. It is just a little bit harder in terms of explaining how they're supposed to move, how are they feeling. where in person I'm physically moving them and then asking them, do you feel a little bit of pain when you do this or that? And yeah.
Do you ever think there's a unnecessary consultation for somebody? Like, say somebody comes to you, my shoulder pains. Do you think people think they have shoulder pains, or do they just maybe stress about something? They play tennis, now their shoulder is sore, and they come to you. Is there always an injury, or is it sometimes just maybe psychological? You think back about something.
I think psychological pain is a thing, but I don't think that there is ever, they always said in school, there's never a stupid question. So if you feel like something is bothering you, if you feel like your shoulder is bothering you, go and see somebody. Never feel embarrassed to do it, because that's what we're there for and we want to help you. So I don't think that there's always necessarily an actual injury. As I said, it could be an imbalance. It could be your posture that might be out of line, your grip, your shoes, anything like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be an injury, but also prehabilitation is so important. I mean, to prevent the injuries, you need to prehabilitate. You need a prehabilitation program. And again, you can see your biokineticist for that.
So throughout a rehabilitation process, I think it depends on the type of injury you've got, but how long is a normal process? Do you go for like 3 sessions, or does it really depend on the kind of injury, and how do you know when you're done rehabilitating?
So as you said, it definitely depends on your injury. It depends how severe the injury was. If you actually tore a muscle, if you strained a muscle, if you've had an operation, so post-operative rehabilitation. I wouldn't be able to tell you how long it is exactly, but I would say it is more of a long-term type of treatment. So you will come for a few weeks, possibly a few months, depending on your injury and the severity of the injury. Just to tell you a little bit about our session, so what we do in the session, to give you an idea of that. So if a patient came to see me, I would do an assessment on the patient. So it would be a medical history and then a physical assessment, doing special tests, trying to rule out what might be the cause of the injury, where the pain is, what the injury might be, and thereafter doing a program prescription. So I take those results and I write a program for the patient and then give them the program the next time I see them that they can do at home. With that in mind, they can do that at home, then they're going to see me at least once a week, possibly twice a week. And that's pretty much how it works. And as I said, it can be a long-term type of treatment, not necessarily, 1 or 2 sessions.
Yeah, it all depends on the type of injury.
Yes, yeah.
So moving to the rehabilitation pre-rehabilitation process, how important is it to warm up before competing in any event?
So warm-up is extremely important. I think everybody should do it. It doesn't matter whether you're playing a match or whether you are just, hitting a few balls with your friends, going to gym. Warm-up is very important. And why it's important, I mean, there are many benefits, but just to name a few. So firstly, it increases the circulation to your muscles. As you warm up, the blood needs to go to those muscles that need to be worked. It increases the range of motion of your joints. And it also mentally prepares you for your game, getting that muscle memory to kick in again. And I think for a warm-up, you should do at least about 10 minutes minimum. Okay, 10 minutes of warm-up is a good way to go.
Okay. And regarding warm-ups, is there any specific, what is the most common warm-up that you would do? Just if someone doesn't want to warm up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that never want to warm up. So what can you just tell them? Just at least do this.
For tennis players now?
Yeah.
Okay. So for tennis players, I would say, I'm going to show you a few exercises later, but, heel-toe walking, so walking on your heel to the toe, nice arm circles, getting those shoulders warmed up, good rotation exercises. Even a little bit of a jog around the court is great as well. Calf raises, those things, all the main muscles that you are going to use in tennis.
So would you prefer more static or dynamic warm-ups then?
Yeah.
Dynamic?
Yes, you're right. Dynamic warm-ups, definitely. Static is more for your cool down. So that's your stretching routine. So dynamic stretching is very important. Definitely for a warm-up.
Okay. What would you say is the 5 most common injuries that you get in tennis?
So there's a list of injuries that I can mention, but things that come to mind at the moment, I would say, is tennis elbow, firstly. So that's basically pain on the outside of your elbow as compared to golfer's elbow, which is on the inside of your elbow. Then patella tendonitis, which is also called jumper's knee. So as you know, tennis is quite a high impact sport. You know, you're jumping for the serve, you're jumping for smashes, running for the drop shots, turning, changing direction, all of those things. So I think the patella can take quite a knock in your tennis match. And again, the rehabilitation is so important for that. Then definitely ankle sprains. I think we've all seen and we've all felt an ankle sprain in our tennis match or twisting your ankle. So I think incorporating like a ankle stability type of program into your everyday program is very important. Other than that, I would say an Achilles tendon rupture. So for example, if you're standing at the back of the court and somebody gives you a drop shot and you now have to run for that drop shot, that forceful plantar flexion, so you pushing off your toe, can actually cause that Achilles tendon to rupture. So basically, it's the tendon that attaches the calf muscle to your heel bone. So how many have I mentioned now? Oh, yeah, that's 4. Okay, then rotator cuff tear, definitely very common. So that's basically the 4 muscles that make up your rotator cuff. And it could be a partial tear, a complete tear, depending on how badly, it happened. And then I just want to say as well with these injuries, as we said before, it's so important to not ignore the pain. If you are feeling something, go and check it out. Remember, when you're playing, your adrenaline levels are high, so you might not feel the pain as much as you might feel it after the match. So if you do feel something, call somebody, ask them for advice, or go and see your biokineticist or physiotherapist.
I think that actually happens a lot when people playing. Like you said, the adrenaline is so high at the moment that you just carry on.
Exactly.
You feel your ankles or sore, whatever, but you just keep carrying on. And I think that's probably the biggest part of injuries then. People not realizing it at the moment. So after a match now, you probably need to warm down. But a lot of people actually skip that part. So how important is it to warm down there?
Yeah, you're completely right. I mean, a lot of people skip the cool down. They think that I've exercised now. Why do I need to cool down again? And everybody wants to go get in the car, take a nice shower, and just rest. But a cool down is so important. And again, let's go for the 10-10 rule. It should also be 10 minutes long at least. But yes, a cool down is very important just to bring your heart rate and your blood pressure down back to a normal level. And also just to, relax the muscles, prevent venous pooling, which is basically the blood pooling in your lower extremity, stretching it out, static stretching, as we spoke about dynamic stretching before. Static stretching is really important in your cool down.
So it's really important to focus on getting that heart rate down in the cool down, not actually getting it up. Because I've seen people in the cool down actually look more dizzy than during the matches or whatever.
Yeah.
You want to keep that heart rate down in static exercises.
Yeah. So you want to gradually get your heart rate and your blood pressure down. I mean, you've seen the pros. They'll hit a few just easy balls afterwards just to get your heart rate down, just to the normal type of level. And then, go ahead and do some static stretches. Get a nice yoga mat. Do your stretches after your match. It's very important. And also to reduce your muscle stiffness after the match.
Okay, no, that's awesome. Thanks for all the information.
No, it's a pleasure.
And actually I want to say good luck with all your endeavors and your whole journey, just going through everything.
Oh, thank you very much.
We're going to move on to the Tennis 7's quiz now. So how this is going to work is we'll give you 1 minute and I'm going to ask you questions and you just see how many you can get right.
Cool.
So if you can just get a timer please there, you can just get the question. So if you are ready. Or the timer ready. Okay, so you just answer and I just go on.
Okay, cool.
So let's go in 3, 2, 1. First question. Name the 2 Grand Slams that are played on the same surface.
I think the US Open and the Australian Open.
Within a game, what do you say when you have no points?
Love.
What is the Tennis 7 slogan?
Do more, be more, and play more. Is that
That's
correct?
correct. Who is the number 1 player on the ATP World Rankings?
I think Djokovic at the moment, Or yeah.
That is correct. How many players are on a tennis court in a doubles match?
4.
That's too easy.
Thanks.
What color were tennis balls before they came out as yellow?
Oh, shucks. I actually don't know. I think I would say orange or not. Close?
It's close, but not there.
Okay.
Who were the first ever set of sisters that have won an Olympic gold in tennis?
Yes, no, I have no idea for that. No idea. Is it? No.
Take a guess.
No, I don't know.
Actually, the Williams sisters.
Oh, really?
Serena and
Oh,
Venus,
okay. I thought
yeah.
it's going to be like some toppy. Like some tunny. Okay, cool.
Those two sisters. Hey, that went better, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
Yeah,
we
went
should
better,
have asked
can
this
you?
question first, the 4 players on a court.
Cool.
We'll let you know if you want to buy.
You don't ask me anything. I'll just say sorry for me.
Right, Danielle, thank you very much for coming out today. We really appreciated your time here and all the information you've given us.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'll definitely see you guys soon.
And good luck with all your ventures. We hope you all the best, and we'll definitely see you on courts soon.
Yeah, cool. Let's do it.
That's been it for the Tennis 7's podcast. I'm your host, Reno, and I'll see you next time.